Donald Trump has been going around claiming that CNN is fake news because of the fact that there was that unverified document that was leaked that CNN did not publish or disclose the details of. But nonetheless, he calls them fake news, kind of confusing them with BuzzFeed. And now, as a result, there are some places like a YMCA in Indiana that have decided to shut CNN off at their exercise facilities. They have TVs at the gym there, and they decided to switch from CNN to local news because they also are concerned about fake news. So let's take a look at what they had to say. They said that in order to eliminate perceived political bias associated with national news, they will only be showing local news channels in the future. That was their statement about it.
Well, I mean, it's almost like self-censorship. It has begun.
Yeah.
Now, luckily, everybody's not the same all over, the same, you know, and so people at the YMCA are like, we always watch CNN. Can you put it back on?
Yeah.
Right? So now there's a little bit of a fight back and forth. You know me, I'm not a big fan of CNN. They should put TYT on. Tell your local gym. They'll appreciate it a lot more. We get a lot more energy. CNN, very low energy, okay? We're high energy when you want to work out. Anyways, but in this case, of course, I defend them. One, they're not fake news. I got other problems with them, but they're not fake.
Right.
But on the other hand, if that owner and the people who work at the gym like the local news better, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just don't do it out of censorship and because your dear leader told you that they should be banned.
Right.
Do it out of preference.
Yeah.
Like, use a little bit of critical thinking. I agree with you. I'm not a big fan of CNN either, but to claim that CNN is fake news, I mean, what are they going to show on the local news station? Like, no offense to local news, but no, you should take offense. Local news stories on television are laughable. They're horrible, right? Very rarely do they do stories that actually matter. I mean, local newspapers do a good job. They cover stories that sometimes go national, and they talk about the community and some of the issues that, you know, average Americans are facing. But you watch television, local news, and you're just like, oh my God, this is so bad.
Well, without local news, how am I going to find out who got pulled over for drunk driving and who committed a suicide out in San Bernardino?
Yeah, and the police chase that took place today.
Right.
Another one, I missed it. I also think it's interesting that it's in Indiana. So the YMCA is one of those places that has a setup for people who don't have a lot of money to be able to go work out. So, it's usually on a sliding scale from people who are below economic earnings. I know because my kids went to the YMCA. So just to think that at the YMCA is where they decided to censor the news, it's kind of creepy to me. It's like, especially in Indiana with the AIDS issue with Pence and the whole, just the whole what's going on. I think we need to go on a go get people woke tour, because that's really what's that's really the problem right now. Instead of bashing those people, giving them some information, because that's scary.
So it's a great point because we did the story in Indiana where it turns out that the lead is in the soil and the lead is in the water, right? So Jordan was one of the first people out there when it was in the soil. New York Times was around the same time as Jordan, and it turns out the soil had lead in it 218 times allowable levels because they built the projects on top of a lead smeltering plant. Oh, and so then they said no, but the water is fine, but they hadn't tested it. The guy from the EPA told Jordan, no, the water is fine, and then eventually the EPA later tests the water in the sink. They're like, not fine. Okay, there's lead in the water. But you can still shower with it. Jordan went out and tested it, sent it to an independent lab. And the water heater water that they're using for the shower, no, worse than the sinks. Way worse than the sinks. So all that really serious stuff is going in Indiana. Your kids could be showered in lead, which stunts development, growth, IQ, etc. And you're worried about banning CNN at the YMCA. I mean, more than anything else, priorities, people, priorities. Fix the media. Be the media. Come join us. tytnetwork.com/join.